Hey friends! Today I'm going to show you how to weave a tube on an inkle loom. It's not a particularly difficult technique, you just have to see it. This video includes views from the top and the side. I've warped my loom with 6 warps white, 12 warps blue, and another 6 warps white, all in silk. I've done this because I want to show you how stripes appear in tubular weaving. I've also already woven a little bit flat. Let's continue some flat weaving so we can compare that to the tubular method. Change your shed. Move your shuttle from right to left, beat the weft as you go, and accidentally move your whole loom. I pinched the edge of the warp to help the weft draw through evenly. I'm also weaving around my tripod, so this is an interesting experience. Now, to continue weaving flat, I change the shed, move my shuttle from left to right, beating as I go, and bring the weft through the shed. Because my weft is not the same color as the edges of my warp, you can see blue dots. This is intentional so that you can see the changes when we switch to weaving tubularly. When I want to weave a tube, I change my weft and bring my shuttle from right to left, beating as I go. Same first step. However, instead of bringing the shuttle from left to right, I pass the shuttle under the entire warp. There's no changing of sheds, no bringing it through the shed. Just bring it under the whole thing. Then I change my shed, beat the weft lightly, and bring my shuttle from right to left again. If we look at the back, there is a loop of weft going from selvage to selvage. All I am going to do is tighten the weft so it draws the two sides together. I bring the shuttle under the entire work again, change the shed, and bring the shuttle through the warp from right to left, always the same direction. You will see that there's spots where I didn't beat the weft enough. I do beat the weft pretty tightly, but after beating I always pull the weft thread again to tighten the tube, like a drawstring. Change shed, beat, tighten, pull through. Change shed, beat, tighten, pull through. Change shed, beat, tighten, pull through. Sometimes it's hard to remember whether you are on an up shed or a down shed in tubular weaving. It's okay if you forget. You will just have a longer bit of weft showing in the back. If you have trouble finding the shed, it's usually the one that has more resistance when beating. Let's look at this from the side now. Change shed, beat, tighten, pass under. 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 One thing to notice while looking at the back is that the weft thread does not disappear entirely. It's best that the weft thread matches what would be the selvages, as that will disguise any warp. However, if you are practicing, you may want to use a contrasting weft so that you can see where the join is. It will mostly disappear as long as you beat and tighten. You'll notice that I roll the work over while I am tightening the weft to make sure that I tightened it enough. Alright, I'm going to finish this bit up with some flat weaving and we'll start a new tube so you can see how to get started with a tube right away. Alrighty, now I'm going to show you how to start weaving tubular inkle weaving from the start. It's the same concept as weaving the tube in general. However, I like to secure and hide the tail of my weft in my weaving. I change my shed and bring my shuttle through, leaving a good tail. I bring the weft to one side underneath and I bring the tail to the other side. I change my shed and bring the tail through from left to right. And then I bring the shuttle from right to left. Then I tighten using both the tail and the weft, like a drawstring. I change my shed and repeat the same steps. Bring the tail from left to right and the shuttle from right to left. Whoops! I almost changed the warp before I brought the shuttle through. Don't do that! In addition to hiding my tail at the start, I also like to hide it at the end. I get a nice sharp needle, store it there for now. I always stick my needles on work so I don't lose them. I cut my weft and put it on the needle. Then I actually go through the middle of the tube and out the back. With the silk, I can do a little back stitch to secure the weft. I also do this while it's on the loom as the tension helps me. At the end, I'll stick the needle about an inch down, longer if it's a thicker warp or tube, and then I pull it through. I put the needle away in my needle book, wonderfully made by Helena, and then I cut the weft so it's flush with the warp. You would never know it was there. Here are the finished samples, which will be given away as bookmarks. First, we have the sample with the flat weaving and the white selvages, two with blue selvages that are tubular the whole way, and I also did some flat weaving to finish the warp so you could see how I changed the warping pattern. These were all cut directly off the loom, and you'll notice that they are naturally spiraling. What is a striped pattern when woven flat turns into a spiral in the tube. This is because the weft is spiraling between the threads and it encourages the shape. You can help this along by twisting in the same direction, and the tube will happily follow your request. On this top one, you will see that the weft is showing through, while on the other two, it's not showing. While the spirals look identical, because I swapped from white selvages to blue selvages in my warp, I don't have an issue with the warp showing on the second and third. Overall, tubular weaving is a great method for making quick cord. I did a simple warp and finished all of these in an evening. Honestly, editing this video probably took longer than it did to make these. Because you can switch back and forth between flat and tubular, I like to warp my loom with a long warp and make one cord that's flat and one that is tubular. It entertains me. Let's have some close-ups. Here's the flat, the tubular, and the whole collection. Now, go forth and weave yourself into circles. Let me know how it turns out.